Hi, I'm LaRusch. Are you ready to make the journey from lawyer to entrepreneur? Every week I'm sitting down with people who have mastered the art of running a business and want to share with you the lessons they've learned along the way. Join me as we experience the highs, the lows, and everything in between as we learn, share, and grow together. Welcome to Share the Love.
Cameron is the founder of IT managed services provider, the Helpful Geek. He is a Texas native and serves the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He started his IT career with Texas Tech University before serving his community as a firefighter and EMT and his country in the U.S. Army. After his tour of duty, he returned to Dallas, where he has been working in IT for the past 10 years. Cameron, thank you for being on Share the Love. I want to talk to you about white glove service. What does that mean to you in IT?
So Emily, white glove service it's a type of interaction that you engage with. It's a type of relationship that you engage with your client. There's all sorts of resources that companies can go to for IT questions or people that can help them manage their company. And what separates a white glove type of service from these other services is the Helpful Geek will reach out to your company, and we want to develop a relationship with you. We want to learn how you work. We want to find out what your passions are, what is your growth goals, and how can we tailor a support package to meet the needs of your partners and your associates, so that not only are we facilitating your growth, but we're coming alongside you to support your clients' interests as well as your internal firm's interests.
So everyone really says, customer service is everything. It's so important. And I think everyone really, truly thinks they provide great service. But can you give an example of the type of service that you provide that's going over and above what someone would get anywhere else?
So most places will be able to sell you a computer, hook you up with antivirus backup solutions. One of the big differences between the way I work and a lot of other companies is I've got a client here close to where I work, and he's a one-man estate and probate attorney. One of the big ways where I was able to help him was by sitting down with him and kind of hearing what are his frustrations and what are the things that are of value to him. He had been running his practice off of an older laptop for a while, and he was having neck pains and having back pains from working off of his laptop. And so I was able to work with him in developing a multi-level stand-up desk solution with variable monitors that can be moved to different angles, moved to different heights, so that it really kind of not just gives him a better computing experience, but a whole better ergonomic experience. We connected his email with a cloud solution provider that is actively backing up and giving him the ability to encrypt messages so that he can still interact with his clients in a more secure manner. But I went through and actually taught him how to use the systems and made it easy for him, because it's not something that he's comfortable, familiar with. So spending the extra time to really enable him to use these systems to the fullest advantage of his company, I think that's what really kind of sets us apart.
In the vein of the white glove service, I just read Excellence Wins from Horst Schultz from Ritz-Carlton, and one of my key takeaways there was own the issue, and the customer is always right, even when they aren't. And those have been like big mind shifts for me on white glove service. Is if you take that approach, that the customer is always right in how they're feeling, even if they're not right about the facts of what's happening. And so I've been talking with my team. We just had something come up where he's like, the customer is absolutely wrong. They're not calculating their bill properly. But like at this point, we're angering the customer because in their mind they're right, and we're not acknowledging their feelings and really addressing them with where they're at. And so when we went back and did that, the customer all of a sudden went from, I can't stand talking to you, to, oh my God, I've never had such good service from a company ever, and completely shifted an issue by just having that mindset of like the customer is always right even when they aren't, and kind of transforming the level of service that we give people.
What I really love about that is that when you start focusing on the customer's perception as opposed to the reality of the situation, then you can start putting yourself in the customer's or your client's shoes and start feeling what they're feeling and seeing what they're seeing from their perspective, and understanding what it's like to be frustrated, especially with my clients. When they call me, they're normally frustrated already because they've been fighting with this issue, because we all know we don't like to call the doctor until it's really bad, right? So by the time you called your IT guy, it's something that's already frustrated you, and you've tried a few things already, and nobody likes sitting on the phone with a support guy saying, have you tried turning it off and on again? Yes, I've tried turning it off and on again because I'm slightly smarter than a fifth grader. I would like some actual help here. And so putting yourself in that client perspective of, I'm really frustrated, I have a deadline, I have my clients that I need to be focusing on, and I'm stuck dealing with this issue with you, and you can come at them from a point of compassion and forgiveness, and that really kind of helps to shift that perspective from maybe what's actually happening to, how can I love you in this situation? How can I come alongside you and say, man, I get it. This is rough. Let's work together to find the best, fastest, correct way out of this.
I totally agree. One of the biggest problems, I think, I read an article recently, and it says, one of the biggest threats to your company's IT is you and your people, and I agree with that. So my team oftentimes will get super frustrated, and they're like, the computer's not working. And these are really savvy people, but they maybe downloaded something and accidentally accepted adware. Now they're getting these pop-ups, and it's interfering with their work. And it's kind of funny because it's kind of like, we are in the wrong. You did download it. But, from the IT perspective, you've got to really be there for the customer and hold that space, because they're already super mad and they're blaming you and the computer and everything else besides, themselves.
It's often frustrating because, of course, a computer's going to do exactly what it's told to do. I don't know if you remember these books from a kid, but my mom read me these books called Amelia Bedelia, and it was about a maid who did literally exactly everything as she was told. If you told her to go beat the road or hit the road, she would take a stick out and hit the road with it.
Those are great books.
Yeah, they're great. So you get a very literal translation, and so that's what computers are designed to do. And so when you can work with your clients' users and provide services like user education, hey, we're going to roll out this new tool, and it's going to be a little bit frustrating. Let me host a lunch and learn. Let me, bring out some fajitas. We're all going to sit down, and let me spend about an hour and a half with your team walking them through, hey, what is multi-factor authentication and why is it important? What is email screening and why is it that I have to take these extra measures? What's the value in it? And so being able to come alongside your clients and say, look, I understand that these are frustrating things. Let me work with you. Let me make this something that's palatable and easy and facilitates the way you work. You'll find that you get a lot more flies with honey. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's true.
I love that you'll do, host a lunch and learn, go out to the firm's office and show everyone how to use software. That's definitely going above and beyond.
Well, I mean, users aren't going to immediately fall in love with anything new. I mean, everyone likes the systems that they're comfortable with. I've gone into offices and there are keyboards from the mid '90s, and I just like this style of keyboard. Yes, I understand. However, that style of keyboard doesn't have a USB plug, and no one uses these kinds of plugs anymore, so we have to do something different. So, when you come into these scenarios where people are very comfortable with their systems and very comfortable with the way that they've done things, and you're coming and telling them, well, it's all wrong, it's all going to change, there's a better way to do that. There's a way that honors them. There's a way that says, I completely value your system. How can we make some small tweaks so that your system still works and yet falls in line with these new security policies that are not just protecting you, but protecting your continued employment, by protecting your coworkers' employment, and by protecting your clients.
Excellent. So why is it important then to contract with an IT company instead of just being like, hey, Cameron, I have a one-off thing I need help with? What would be the benefit?
So, we come in contact with a lot of companies, and everyone's got, the cousin or the nephew that, he does a little computer stuff on the side and helps me out here and there. The difference between being contracted with an IT provider is that we're going to come and we're going to work with you. We're going to look at the entire layout, and we're invested with you in providing a comprehensive solution that not only takes into account everything that you're currently doing, but also takes into account where you want to be. And so we can give you good counsel. We can work alongside your people. We learn how your people work. We learn what your company values, and we make specific and focused decisions on how to best guide your company through that technological minefield so that you're not spending too much or too little and starving your company. I mean, I've seen companies that, we're going to spend an absolute minimum amount of money on IT, and what you're doing is you're limiting your company's potential for growth. The converse side is the company that wants to have all the newest and latest and greatest. Well, that's not the best stewardship of your resources. We can get by on less, and we can do a lot more with it.
That's awesome. Do you have a story that illustrates either like someone who was just using way too much stuff or someone who wasn't using enough and how you helped them?
So we had wasn't a legal client, but we had a client who they had been using this older server for their email for several years and were just refusing to upgrade. So we had to show them the value of, you can stay using the server, but it's going to limit your ability to install new software on these machines. These machines aren't going to support the newer versions of Office. They're not going to support the newer versions of encryption. So you're putting your data at risk by staying on this older hardware. By kind of showing them the value of being on a more subscription-based mail system as opposed to an on-premise mail system, they were able to see that not only were they losing money in terms of the maintenance that they were putting into the older hardware, but they're also losing money in the lost productivity of the employees' workstations, because the employees' workstations couldn't upgrade because the server was old. And so their employees were having more idle time, and they weren't getting as much done. There was more frustration. Morale was low. By getting them onto the newer hardware, by getting their email upgraded to a more secure system, their employees were happier. They got more work done. And overall, they were just more comfortable with an expected routine spend as opposed to all of these, oh my gosh, nothing's working, and now I have to spend X number of days down while I'm also paying this guy to fix my system.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cameron, for giving us a glimpse into the IT world. I have a couple of rapid-fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Favorite movie treat?
Favorite movie treat, hot tamales. All day.
Upcoming personal event you're looking forward to?
I'm headed to Orlando here in the middle of October to invest in a training called the First Steps to Success. It's something that my wife and I jumped in a few years ago, and since then we've paid off all of our debt. It's been just amazing for our marriage and our personal relationships, and we're really looking forward to being able to kind of pour into that community and share that story with a lot of people that need to know that the hope is there, that you can make a rapid change.
Neat. Did you do a Dave Ramsey style debt-free scream?
I don't know if it was a scream so much, but we went out and had a celebratory sushi dinner. So that was kind of our version of a scream.
That's awesome. Do you have any hidden talents?
I do quite a few voice impersonations.
Give me one.
So this is one that my youngest son, he's 15 months old, he really likes Sesame Street, and so his favorite character is Elmo.
And so Aaron loves to talk to baby Zeke. He loves to talk to him and count numbers and learn letters, and he's his favorite little monster in the whole world.
Oh my gosh, that's priceless. Okay, what is your favorite book?
I think my favorite book is The Ideal Team Player. It's a story. It's written as a narrative story, but it kind of sets the framework of how to find, hire, and grow the right kinds of personalities and talents to make a team cohesive and collaborative.
Thank you, Cameron. Appreciate all those shares and for sharing your hidden talent with us.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, and I really appreciate what the back office Betties are doing. I think that the value that you are providing law firms across the U.S. is incredible, and the way that you've found a way to love your clients in a very exclusive and needed way is amazing.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Share the Love. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, share, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play to get the latest content.